Welcome back. Joe Volpe, publisher of the Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian language daily, here on behalf of Corcan Media Group and Go Live TV with the comment of the day. And the comment of the day is simply this: change government, change masters, and change culture. And we refer to Queen's Park. Sometimes governments get set in their ways and they lose touch with the reality of life that the citizenry lives daily. Does anybody remember Kathleen Wynne? Such governments blather on about issues and processes, often confident, mistakenly as it turns out, that their base is larger than it seems to everybody else. They propose new approaches that the great unwashed, us, intuitively recognize as inane. The next thing one knows is that they are gone, swept away by the receding waters of the tsunami that annihilated their tenuous hold on power. Which liberal speaks now for the socioeconomic apparatus erected over the last 15 years in Ontario? Premier Doug Ford just adjourned the first sitting of the legislature under his tutelage. There is a different air about the province already. Too early, I think, to assess the long-term, lasting benefits to the average citizen, but there are no credible voices offering alternative positions to the flurry of initiatives rammed through the legislature in these last 6 weeks. Can it be that those impacted had such a narrow focus, such a superficial connection to the rest of us, that no one expresses regret that a change is about to swallow the vestiges of the sandcastles that preceded this Conservative government? Yeah, apparently so. Barely 100 teacher activists from a total of 124,000 full-time equivalent teachers unionized followed their union leadership on the lawns of Queen's Park to manifest in a show of defiance their displeasure at the termination of the health curriculum introduced 3 years ago. For those who don't know, that's the sex ed curriculum. They might have dressed professionally for the occasion in order to convey a better impression. They could have recruited parents as allies in the cause. They could have done some advance work with the ethnic media and press, which speaks to some 60% of the GTHA's residents for support. They could have prepared some statistical tables documenting socioscientific support for their claims, and so forth. Even their allies in the Catholic community, the Catholic school principals, could only muster a feeble, we're with you, abandonment of the previously intractable moral position on sex ed. On governance, the Ford administration preferred an axe to the scalpel in its surgery of the GTHA city councils and school boards, in particular those in Toronto. The only people whining are some of the incumbents who now realize they need to demonstrate purpose in their roles that goes beyond simply keeping a job the public already thinks is cushy. Premier Ford will not have hurt his government in announcing a hiring and salary freeze in the senior or managerial public service or school board administrations. True or not, the public sees them as bloated and overpaid already. Now, on trade and immigration, two issues where in recent years deferential provincial government had ceded to federal leadership. They were doing nothing. Doug Ford has signaled a more aggressive approach by the government of Ontario. It will be all about the money, as they say, and the burden to Ontario that the federal policies, unless they are clearly enunciated and costed and justified, will impose on Ontario residents who will reject them, as they're doing. Premier Ford appears to have assigned responsibility for immigration issues to, pardon me, Minister, a buzzsaw minister, Lisa MacLeod, an Ottawa area MPP. She wants $200 million for the refugee mess that the Trudeau government has foisted on Ontario. Now, the federal Minister for Refugees and Immigration has been removed from the task force on refugees. Now, no serious spokesman has yet to emerge on the NAFTA negotiations. No one has surfaced from Ford's cabinet, even as the on-again, off-again, with a truculent and whimsical U.S. president appear to be taking on a critical turn. The role will probably land on the Premier's lap. For now, school communities, cannabis interests, now remember, when it was illegal, well, now municipal organizations, etc., they may all be in a tizzy, great confusion, as the legislature goes on a break for a month. People will line up as winners or whiners to tally up the scorecard of Ford's first 6 weeks in office. I think the real test of the Ford government, however, will appear when the legislature returns on September 24th. We'll see then if there's real culture change in Ontario. For Go Live TV, Corcan Media Group, and Corriere Canadese, Joe Volpe, the publisher, inviting you to stay tuned for the comment in Italian and then subsequently in Portuguese. Thank you and welcome back shortly.